Hey there, John McLaughlin. Welcome to another Crossfire trading session. It's just before 1 p.m. in the UK, and what we're going to be doing is trading Euro CAD, Euro USD, GBP CAD, and GBP USD at 1 p.m. UK time, which is the open of the New York session. So we came on yesterday. We did some trading. It was Monday yesterday, so as I kept saying, it was fairly quiet yesterday. And if you look at this is the Euro US dollar, and we put our trend lines on. So we've got a green trend line as part of this strategy going down, and the red trend line was going across. And essentially what we're looking for is when price goes above the green, okay, we're looking for potential buys, and of course when it goes below this red trend line, we're looking for sells. And I said yesterday that there was a lot of in the way of getting, if we're going for longs, okay, we're looking to get in for the bullish market. We want those buys, and there was a lot of resistance along the way. Okay, we had the 62, we had the moving average, we had the 200 moving average. That was kind of in the way, and I said they will probably act as resistance zones, and that's what they did. And I said if you're going to look for anything, look for sells, okay, because with the sells you've got clear air, and that's what happened. Okay, it came just around 14, because we knocked off at 2, just after 2 yesterday. Price started to come down. Well, price went above the green trend line. Okay, it went above. It resisted here at the 62. It went up a bit more. It resisted at the 200. It then bounced off that and decided to come back down to the downside. Okay, it went to our trend line here. Okay, broke through, and then it carried on further down to the downside. So, you know, again, a little bit choppy because obviously it was Monday, but you know we got some sells in relation to that. This area here, just for information, was an area of consolidation, and I said, you know, if price then breaks out of this, okay, and as you can see, it broke out there and it broke out just down here. Okay, when it breaks out of the consolidation area, then you can look for, you know, a potential trade. So that's what happened yesterday. Same sort of thing. The Euro CAD. If we just go back a little bit. So this was yesterday. About here. So similar situation with that. Okay. Again, lots of resistance above. Okay, we've got, you know, this is the green trend line. We've got resistance from the 62, and you can see it didn't even make it to the 200. It kind of bounced straight off the 62 and then came down to the downside. And then this is our trend line. It went below that, and then we get in for a sell in this situation. As you can see, we've got the wave. Okay, this wave is coming down. Okay, so we've got reds, and pretty much it kind of tells us that we can stay in the trade. Once we get in the trade, you can stay in a bit longer, additional confirmations that we're in a sell, and then you could get out around here. But you know, remember with this strategy, we're looking at making a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Okay, so the main thing is protecting your account. Next thing, obviously, thinking about where price may well go to. Okay, but if we can get a 1 to 2, we're in good shape. All right, so look at the other two. So GBP CAD. We'll see where. So this is on the 2 minute. This was yesterday. So there's the trend lines, okay, and almost straight away. I mean, it's a really steep trend line. This one, we kind of went. This went around just around sort of 1400. So after we knocked off, you've got this area here up to the 200 moving average. You've got 11 pips. So you've got to consider, well, have you got enough in the trade when you take into account broker spread? So that's up to you. And then we've got a bit of resistance here, and then it moved up almost to this area of imbalance. And I said, you know, imbalance, the start of the imbalance can either act as support or resist. It'll probably act as resistance as we go up, and that's what it did. It kind of almost made it, and then it went back to the downside. Okay, so a big downward pull from there. And again, there's our trend line. So if we're looking at this strategy, we're looking at the price to come below here and then taking a trade to the downside from there. Okay, And just one last one was GBP USD, and that's yesterday. So we've got a push to the upside on there. Okay, just kind of before we knocked off. Again, we've got resistance here. Okay, it did push up to here, and then came to the downside. But again, pretty choppy, pretty well choppy. Nothing really much to report on that. And as I said, kind of yesterday was one of those kind of days. You know, Monday afternoon, the markets are kind of warming up. There were opportunities to be had, but there were a little bit few and far in between, really. So let's go back to Euro CAD. Let's go to today. Let's get things ready. So we'll put it on the 15-minute time frame. And what we're looking to do is we want our vertical trend line on 1300 and the two trend lines on the chart. So we're looking for 1315 before we do anything with this. And then we can put these trend lines on. And again, it's dead simple to do. All right, so that's Euro CAD, Euro USD. Let's go and put these on. No, 15 minutes. Yeah, that's it. And once we put these on, we'll go and have a look and see what we've got in the way of imbalance and what's ready and what's been taken out. And some people see this vertical line I'm putting on now. Some people don't bother with that. Okay, and again, I just put it on because I like to be visual. I like to be able to see things. So I put it on. What's happening here? What's happened here? Alright, let's just put that on for now. Right, that should have... There we go. Right, so we'll put one more on. GBP USD. Make sure on the 15 minutes. We'll go to the 1300 and put these two on. Right, okay, so on the 15-minute, we'll have a look at the imbalance, see what we've got in terms of imbalance. Let me just make that a little bit smaller. So, funnily enough, there's nothing from yesterday. Oh, there's no existing imbalance on the chart. There's two ways you can put imbalance on. You can either put an indicator on where it shows up. I haven't got it on here. But your candle will show up whatever colour you want. Some people put it on white. But the only thing it doesn't do, it doesn't take it off once that imbalance has been taken away, once it's been mitigated. So I just look for it manually, and it's good. It's good to be able to look at it. And I mean, like see that area there? From there to there was imbalance, but of course that's been taken out now by this green candle. So there's no imbalance there. Any imbalance here? No. Maybe a tiny bit there, but you see a bit further along? That's been taken out here, so that's gone. No. I think we're in a similar situation as yesterday, so there's no imbalance on there. So we'll just wait. It's 13:08 now. We're waiting to 13:15, and then we can go and put these trend lines on. I'm going to show you how simple it is. Let's go back to Euro CAD. Euro CAD, have we got any imbalance? Looks like we might have a little bit down here. And the way I like to describe imbalance, what you're looking for, you see how you've got this candle here, okay, and then you've got this candle's a gap. There's a gap at the back and there's a gap at the front until this wick here, okay. Now if that wick came all the way down and this wick came up to meet that wick between the first and the third candle, okay, if it was covered then there wouldn't be imbalance, but now there is because price went all the way up. So essentially what we've got no balance in the market. We've got all buyers and no sellers, okay. So price has to come down to mitigate that at some point. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our square. We're going to go to the bottom of that wick, just there, okay, just there, and then we're going to go down to there. That's weird. Look at that. We've got imbalance here. Let me just investigate this. I didn't even see that when I was looking at. Okay, so we've got imbalance here. That's now been mitigated. So this has been taken out. So you can see this was imbalance because it was all sellers. Okay, the first candle, the wick is here. The third candle, the wick's there. So we've got this gap. Okay, and we put our imbalance is that gap. All right. If you don't understand anything, just put a comment in the comments. Put a comment below and I'll answer it. Okay, so let's get our square. Let's go to the bottom of the wick here. There. Okay, I'm going to bring it across and I'm going to bring it down to the top of that wick just here. Okay, just there. That's imbalance. So what I do, just highlight it again. I go to my cog. I've got a template called imbalance. The only difference is it goes all the way across and it says imbalance because that's how I like things. All right, a little bit more there. So we've got imbalance from here. I like to just so I can see it all the way to the top of that wick. So from there to that wick there. Okay. Hit the cog, hit the template, imbalance. Okay. I like to make sure they're in line. Just makes it easy on the eye. And that looks like about it for now. Yep. Right, that's that. So what are we on now? 13.11. Okay, so Euro USD. Let's go and have a look at imbalance on that. Kind of no. So you see how that wick's come all the way down. That's kind of mitigated that imbalance. And you see that, look. So this wick here, okay, and this wick here. Look at the crosshairs. Now they meet. Okay, so that's kind of rectified that market. So there's no imbalance there. Maybe a tiny bit there, look. So between that. So what I'm looking at is that there, that wick, and this wick here. Okay. So this is the candle I'm looking at for imbalance because it's a big one. There's a big gap. So if that wick had come up to meet this wick, there'd have been no imbalance. But there is. So there's a little bit of imbalance there. And I'll just bring that up to meet it. There we go. Cog, template, imbalance, on. Okay, that's it. There might be a tiniest of bits just there, but it's imbalanced nonetheless. So I'm just going to put that there. Anything else? Got some there as well, look. $13.13. You see, just between that tiny little wick on this candle and this wick here, okay, between the two. That's imbalance. Right, good. I've got any more. We've got any more. Okay, we've got GBP CAD. Spending a bit of time on this today. Bounce out. Very wiki. Right, that's imbalance for that one. That's GBP CAD and GBP USD. What have we got on here? A little bit of imbalance here, look. See, once you see it, once you identify, it's only a tiny bit there from this wick to that wick. Right, let's get it on. So I'll do. Right, so Euro CAD, we'll go and put, it's now 13.15. So what we're looking for the higher high next to this 1300 candle, okay, which is, put our magnet tool on, and the higher high is there, okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get this and bring it down to the top of the wick, okay, that's it. Higher high, top of the 1300 candle. That's it, and then we're looking for the lower low. So the wick is there, so the lower low, look left, it's this red candle here. So we'll go and put that left on the bottom of the wick, and this then goes at the bottom of the 1300 wick. And there we go. There's our crossfire, or our trend lines on, okay, crossing over, hence the name of the strategy. And then we'll go and put it on the 2-minute time frame. And we get in on the 2-minute, and we can stay in potentially based on either the 2-minute or the 15. Right, 15-minute time frame. So we're looking for the higher high, and if you look left, what we've got here is the start of the session is here, okay, and it's gone up, and this is the higher high, okay. So all we're going to do is we're going to put it horizontal. Okay, so magnet tool on, grab it, put it on, that's it, put it on top. So click your mouse so you can move it, and then just click shift. Yeah, keyboards decided to go to sleep. Come on, keyboard. There we go. So click shift, release your mouse, and that will leave it horizontal for you. Okay. The lower low next to this one is going to be that green candle there. So that goes onto there on the bottom of the wick, and then we just push that trend line up to the bottom of the green wick. Okay, and there we go. So weird looking thing that. Let's make it a bit longer. There. We'll make that a bit longer as well. Again, hit shift, and we're done. All right, there we go. Right, 2-minute time frame. That's it for that one. And GBP CAD, the high, probably a similar situation. It's going to be the same, I think. There's the start of the session. The higher high is there isn't one, so it goes horizontal. Magnet tool on. There we go. Let's just grab that. So hit the shift, horizontal, let go. And we've got the lower low next to this one, which is the green candle, just there. Okay, bring that up just so it touches the bottom of the wick. There we go. Okay, some odd looking. This is the non-crossfire, so because they haven't crossed over, they would be through a bit longer, but yeah, kind of strange looking now. Right, GBP USD. Put the magnet tool on. We'll put, yeah, it's on the 15 minute. The higher high for that one. It's that little weird doji candle that's there. And the lower low is just there. Okay. I'm going to put that onto the underneath the wick. That's it. Right, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. So, something we need to look at, which you should kind of do before you even start trading, but there you go. Okay, so we're looking at the news. We're looking at the what impact is the news going to give. Look at this for today. So at 13:30, we've got a whole bunch of high impact news with the USD. We've got 13:30, we've got Euro news. 13:55, we've got more US news, and then the next news after that is 16:30, by which time we'll have may well have finished. Sometimes with this strategy, we can carry on a bit longer. So yeah, let's go to the US. So US here, what I like to do when it's US news, okay, is just put a marker on it. Okay, sometimes I'll even put one of my little settings on there, high news, okay, even though it's marked, okay, high impact news. So really, all we're going to do right now is we're going to sit back and we're going to watch, okay, because where you get high impact news of this kind of intensity, you know that the markets are going to get manipulated. Without a doubt, they get manipulated anyway. Okay. Yeah. So Euro US, same sort. Sorry. GBP US. Let's just go and put as a little thing on that. I'd have to put news on it. It's already on there. Yeah. All we're going to do as retail traders, we're going to sit back and we're going to watch what happens. And some people like to trade the news. My personal recommendation is stay out. Okay. It's a bit like, somebody opening a door to a bedroom and putting a flamethrower in. There's the whole bedroom's burning down, and retail traders run in, try and save the pictures and and it's going to get burned to death. All right. What you want to do is just wait for the flames to die down. Okay. Open a window, get the smoke out, then go in and see what you can do. Okay. But people that trade the news, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get burned. All right, and I hope that analogy sinks in for some time. Right, so let's go and have a look at the we know we've got Euro news coming up. The Euro news is coming up at again 13:30. It's low impact, however, with all the news from US, it could well adversely affect that as well. So 13:30, there we go, with the Euro. I think we're just going to sit back. So what we're looking for, okay, with this strategy, we're looking for price to go above the green trend line for potential buys, and we're looking for price to come below the red trend line for potential sells. Okay. Now what we've got on our charts in terms of indicators, we've got the straightforward Forex. This is something that is available through our trading community. And it's the only, that's available, but the only reason I can trade these days is thanks to the community. And it might be a plug, but it's one that's well deserved, because I tried trading for years and just couldn't get it. So we've got that, and what it gives us a wave up or a wave down kind of trend direction. Okay, so currently what it's telling us is that we're in a wave up. Okay, so if you look at these candles here and the cloud, you'll see the green. Okay, you'll see there they turn red, and now they've gone back to green again. Okay, it's telling us, look out for potential buys, but at the same time, you've got to balance all the different indicators together to give you a bigger picture. Okay, and so we'll just call them stacks of probability. Okay, probability stacks. So wave up. Okay, confirmed. Yes. Okay, these PSARs, parabolic stop and reverse, are those green? Okay, are they underneath the candle? Yes, they are. But look how close it is to this one. Okay, and the fact is, Is it already flipped? Yeah, it looks like it's already flipped. Okay, so that's telling us no. We've got the moving averages. Okay, so in terms of the moving average, we've got the 5, the 13, the 62, and the 200. Okay, the white is the 5, the yellow is the 13, green here is a 62, and down here the blue is the moving average, is a 200 moving average. And what we want them to be in order. So if they're in order, it gives us an idea that, you know, things are going in our favour. Next we've got the Wadar. Okay, the Wadar gives us an idea of strength. So the blue area, we've got the dead zone. Okay, you don't want to be in the dead zone. And the explosion line, which is this line here, is telling us, or the histogram is telling us, look out for potential sells. Here is the darker red, a little bit stronger, and then you've got the slightly salmony red, weaker. Okay, and the explosion line wants to be moving away. Okay, so what is the direction of that? It's kind of, it went down. Okay, so that was good in terms of these buys. Okay, but now it's kind of losing ground. Okay, so nothing's happening. Okay, so that's kind of what you look at. In terms of, if we were to get in a trade, what I generally do is, where is the next area of support and resistance? Okay, so we've got this pivot. Okay, pivot lines, and again the pivots, I just use the pivots. I use them straight out the box. I put S and R 1, 2, and 3, and everything else I use traditional pivots, and I use those, and they're really good, you know, indicators for where price may well go. We've got a trend lines that we've just put on, and we've got a moving averages, and also we've got these areas of imbalance. Okay, so you've got to ask yourself, you know, is price going to come down and take out this imbalance, and maybe hit this pivot here? So that pivot is, I think it's, that's the pivot line. Okay, this here is R1, so this is the main pivot line. So it's already gone through the pivot line. So I like to kind of use pivots if the price has hit the pivot line for that day. So it's currently up at R1. Okay, you can see how this area is support and resistance. So is price going to come down? We're going to have to look, and this is what we do when we're trading. We just look at the price, we look at what's happening, and we react accordingly. All right. And remember, no indicator is ever going to predict what's going to happen. It just confirms your thoughts and your beliefs, all right, of what's happening with price. So Euro USD, again, we've got a situation where we're gonna consolidate until the news hits. And when the news hits, you just watch the price. I'm gonna, what time? We're 4 minutes away, just less than 4 minutes away from the news. And when price manipulation happens, obviously manipulation happens by people who've got billions to play with, which is banks, pension funds, that sort of thing, the financial institutions, and they liquidate the market. They can see, the banks can see where everyone's stop loss is. So if people have got a stop loss down here, and people have got a stop loss up here for their certain trades, if they're in a trade, then the banks will just take them straight out. Boom, put the price down, push the price back up, and then they've liquidated the market for themselves, and they can take the price wherever they want to. Okay, and that's the way they trade, and that's the way they have to trade. So GBP CAD, similar situation. GBP USD. Okay, so this okay, could be what we call a fake out. Okay, so the price wants to come up. Okay, so let's manipulate the price. Let's get people in thinking it's going to be a buy, and then when the news hits, let's dump the price all the way down here, and we'll take everyone's stop loss out because they're thinking it might go up here, and we'll liquidate the markets. So I'm going to keep it on this one. I'm going to keep it on this and see what's going to happen. So it's 28. So yeah, just a minute and a half. In a minute and a half, we'll see what's going to happen, and price will shoot in one direction. We'll see. So in terms of our indicators, if you look at obviously the price has gone up. Okay, it's gone above our green trend line. So ordinarily we would say, okay, yeah, well, why don't you get in this, John? And it's because of this news. Okay, we're going to stay well out of this. Okay. But yeah, look at the moving averages. We've got the 5, we've got the 13, the 62 and the 200 all lined up, all nice. Okay. The PSAR is underneath the candle. Okay, so again, all nice, telling us that we're in for a buy. The Wadarata, okay, on this particular one anyway, it's telling us nice and strong. The explosion line is moving away, and under normal circumstances, this couldn't be a better trade. Okay, everything is telling us that price wants to go up. And you know, it may well go past this this trend line here. So that's from yesterday. I made that one long. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna just ignore this one because that's a trend line from yesterday, so it's kind of a little bit off point. But I'm just gonna wait and see what happens to this price, because I tell you what, there's a lot of news on there. So we've hit the pivot. Okay, ordinarily pivots are acting either as support and resistance. So currently with the green candle, it's acted as, right, 1330. There we go, look at that, dumped. Hello buyers. Oh no, sorry, we've taken you all out and now we're going to push the price even further. Okay, you see what happened there? So all these buyers had stop losses down here, okay, and they're all thinking everything's lining up. Okay, I've listened to John and he said everything's lining up for a buy. Okay, but because we had the news, the banks went, we're going to take you all out, all you people, and then we're going to push the price up to where we want it to go. Okay, and the next question is, do you get in now? Okay, and my reaction would be no, leave it. Okay, remember the bedroom's on fire, whatever you want to say, the building's on fire. You don't want to. If you rush in now, anything could happen. You just don't know what's going to happen. The floor could collapse or whatever. All right, so just stay out. Okay, let all this madness die down before you make a decision. Remember, we're retail traders. You know, we haven't got billions to play with. And if you look at the size of this move all the way down to there, 48 pips. Okay, and going. Okay, still going now, 50 pips. Okay, it takes 10 million US dollars to move 1 pip. So look at the amount of money that's just been injected into the pound US dollar. All right. So look at this. Everything's showing, yeah. Very nice, very good. Okay. But right now this is the, I think this is S1's support one on the pivots. Price may well come up to this area and then bounce off. If we were to get into a trade now, and obviously we're not going to, but if we were considering it, we'd look at this, okay, and we'd say, okay, there's 9 pips to that area, okay. Bearing in mind this is an area where price may bounce or break, is it worth getting in for 8 or 9 pips when you consider broker spread and everything else? And it's not, okay. So where's the next area? Okay, well, I've got an area of interest up here. I haven't actually discussed this yet, so we'll discuss that in a second. But areas of interest are just previous highs and lows, and you plot them conservatively. You know, so if you're looking for a potential buy, you'll plot it conservatively on that area. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. I just want to see what's going to happen here. And so did the euro make a difference? Yeah, look at that. Look at that, went all the way down to here, okay. All the way down to there. Taking out people's stop losses. Spoiling their week. Euro USD is the same. GBP CAD is the same. GBP USD is the same as well. Going up for a potential buy, take everyone out, pushes it up, and then we'll get some sort of once things have calmed down, we'll see what happens. But you never want to be trading the news if you can avoid it. I've traded the news before as an experiment to see what happens. and it's yeah, you need your wits about you. You see how fast this is moving. This is the pound US dollar. It's still under manipulation because it's moving so quick. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that there just for now. Okay, so it went too far. This is yesterday's trend lines, way too far away. Right, so what have we got? GBP CAD, is it settling down? It's kind of settling down now. Okay. But you see, the thing is, when you've got news, the markets don't react in the usual way. As I showed you from before, everything's pointing up. It could be a nice buy, and then suddenly price drops. So it's completely unnatural to what would normally happen, and it's unpredictable. And that's why I always say, stay away from it. Stay away from news. Stay away from all news. I mean, all politics is news, and also non-farm payroll. You want to stay away from that as well. Some people will trade it. That's up to them. I've traded gold on non-farm payroll. But yeah, I mean, literally, you're in and out of a trade sometimes in seconds. And do you want to be trading like that? Not really. Some do. It can be exciting, but you need to lie down afterwards in a darkened room. So the Wadarata, as you can see from here, it's showing us the darker red. So it's telling us, okay, there's a stronger move, but for the purposes of our strategy, I'd want it to come below the trend line. Then I'd want to look at the distance between the trend line and this imbalance here. It's only a small bit of imbalance, but it's still imbalance, excuse me. And then we've got the pivot line. Okay, so we've got lots of things to look at and to consider before we just jump into a trade. All right. So let's go back to EuroCAD. And again, EuroCAD is there we go, that's better. So yeah, I pushed to the downside, and it may well indeed come past the trend line here, the red trend line. But look at where the position of the 200 moving average. It's only there. Okay. So for this to line up for a sell, I would want price to come past this trend line. Okay. I want the next candle to break away from it. So I've got a gap in between the candle and here, and then I've got to say, well, what's the distance between there? Okay, so the distance between just below the trend line and the top of the 200 moving average is only 3 pips. Okay, and depending on price action, what you'd want to get away from the moving average, get some clear air, and then see where we go from there. And sometimes you can just tell with price action if it's on one. I forget if it's going to go. Okay, and then sometimes you'll see it heading off. Okay, like a greyhound out of a trap, and it will take out all this imbalance as well, and sometimes it even hit the pivot line. Okay, but right now we're just kind of meandering. You can see this pivot line here acting as resistance, so it's bouncing off that trend line, off that pivot line right now. So we said it takes around $10 million to move 1 pip in a direction. Okay, so you consider that this one, okay, the last one was what, 50 pips, 30 pips. Okay, you've got 4 different pairs, plus you can look at the amount of liquidity that's been put into the markets from the banks and the financial institutions. It's incredible. The Forex markets alone, something like, people always bounce numbers, but it'll be around $5.5 trillion a day. which is just incredible amounts of money. You know, so it just shows you what's being traded every single day. It's phenomenal. It really is. So we've got price coming down. Look, it's like looking at that red trend line, and the red trend line is going to act as resistance right now. So it's probably going to bounce around from there. We've got 46 seconds on this timeline. We're on 2 minutes on a 2-minute time frame. And as I said, what I would want is the price to come down below. Let me make this a bit bigger. We want price to come below this trend line, and then form a new candle below it, and then obviously it's got to make its way past the 200 moving average as well. So there's quite a few obstacles in its way. Okay. Like that. All right, let's just see what's going to happen with this. It's not gonna break below it before the end of this candle. 5 seconds left on the time frame, so it's gonna be above it, and it's still going to bounce around, offering resistance to that line. So yeah, it's going back up. Look. And this is I would say what I'm doing now is just looking at the price action with everything that's on the charts, and just looking at the candles and finding out what they're doing. And sometimes that's the best way to trade, is, you know, as minimum as you can in terms of indicators, because some people have like loads of indicators, like 10 or 12 indicators on a page, and they go, look, it went to the line. Yes, but you've got 1,000 lines on your chart, you know. So if you can make it as clean as possible, and this is probably the most I would ever put on. I know I'll put the imbalance on. I know I've got the moving averages on and the straightforward Forex and everything else, but it's fairly minimal, I think. Okay, some people would disagree, but sometimes you can just take things off, you know. And the more confident you get with your trading, the more confident you get with price action and understanding the relationship between the pairs and how they react. You know, it's just like anything. You get to understand the movements and the relationship, and you can act accordingly. Okay, but you can see, look, it's acting as resistance. Hasn't broken through, and we're 30 seconds left on this time frame. I would imagine it's going to kind of do the same for a little bit. Let's go and have a quick look at another one. So that's Euro CAD, Euro USD. Okay, so it's just pushed past. Interesting. Just pushed past that, and you can see now it's pushed past the trend line, whereas Euro CAD was still negotiating the trend line. It's pushed past it, a little bit of a gap. Okay, we've now got this long wick and a tiny body, which means indecision. Call it a doji candle. And now it's thinking about getting past the 200 moving average. The 200 moving average is now offering resistance. So if that goes past it, then have we got enough to profit? Okay, 10, 12 pips possibly. Okay, so if we're going to get into this, we will go short. Okay, let's have a look at that. Okay, so our stop loss would go above the pivot line. Okay, ideally above the trend line, but you've got the pivot line there, so just to make it a bit safer, okay, we've got this, and also we've got this area of interest from the other day, and you can see how price, see, it wicked it there, came down to it there, so it's a significant area. So what we're looking for a 1 to 2. So I'm going to pull this down to 1 to 2, so you can see where it says risk to reward ratio 2. Okay, that's a 1 to 2, and that's brought us down to the bottom. Let me put some T's in that one. So the bottom of the imbalance, right? So could that possibly be where price wants to go to? Possibly. Okay, it's not a bad place. You've got this area of the pivot here, which is going to act as resistance. But the way price is going, you can see how it's making a more determined effort to go. Okay, and this kind of tells me that price may want to continue. Okay, the Wadarata was showing strength on the histogram. The explosion line is moving down. So everything's lining up to say, yeah, You're going for those sells. Okay. Now, ideally, in an ideal situation, what I would want my take profit to be above the pivot line. Okay, because usually it tends to get to the pivot line and then it starts to find resistance. All right. And the other thing we want to look at is those points of interest. What have we got in terms of areas of interest? So we've got a little bit of a point here. Okay, so if we were to, I'm just looking here, so the tops of these wicks, I would say there would be more. So I said about looking at conservative. So you look at the crosshairs, okay, and you look at the tops of these wicks, all right, and there's quite a few hits there. Ooh, take that off. Quite a few hits on the top. So I always go conservative. Okay, where conservatively could price go? And I do it to the top, okay, rather than saying, okay, well, we've got this pivot down here, you know, price wants to go to the pivot, so let's do it there, okay. And again, do you want to make profits, you know, easily and mitigate your risks? Okay, so look at that. We've got the area of interest. It shot past that. Okay, it did kind of resist it a little bit. It's going down to the pivot. Okay, and usually just before it gets to the pivot, as I think about it, it'll bounce off it, and then we'll see where price wants to go. And this is where you can start to go, okay, where's take profit 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, so our first take profit was down here at the other side of the imbalance, but ideally I would have wanted to take some profits here. Okay, and then we're looking at this area here of the pivot. Okay, and then we're now just touching the imbalance. And again, as I always said, the imbalance forms support or resistance, and right now, as you can see, it's forming resistance. So we've got 6 seconds left on this time frame. We'll see where it's going to go. I'd imagine it's going to go a bit further down to the downside, so we'll just see. So right now on this one, that's 14 pips. All right, so from there to here, 14 pips. So what I would do now, I would consider moving my stop loss to break even. Okay, so my stop loss comes down to here. Okay, so you've got a risk-free trade. It even takes some profits out. Okay, when you're on the 2-minute time frame, one of the, I mean, look, I'm contradicting myself here. That's the trade I've taken. Okay, so I would now be out the trade. Okay, had I put this trade on. So we've now done a 1 to 2 quite happily. Okay, and price is now coming back up. So yeah, we've done the trade and we're out. Okay, so a quick look at CAD GBP CAD. So that was the Euro USD. So GBP USD will be very similar. So there you go. So we've got our white moving average, which is the 5. We've got the 13, but they're not in line. Okay, there's something not quite right with this. Okay, so the moving average is actually in line. So again, it just gives us a bit of an idea. However, our Wadarata is going. Okay, and we've got lots of clear air from this pivot line to this pivot line down here. Okay, so again, if we were going to go into a short, okay, let's put the short, let's put it on this pivot line. So our take profit level, sorry, our stop loss is up here. Now 15 pips for me is a lot, okay, for this particular strategy, and it's a lot because we got in too late. We should really have been getting in around this sort of area here. Okay, so we're in a bit late. So had we got in up here, and I'd not been talking to you about the previous one, then we'd have been looking around. We'd just go above. So let's just have a look where we're going. Okay, so we're above the trend line. We're above the 200 moving average. We're just above the green, which is the 62 moving average, and we're just above this engulfing candle here. Okay, so we're kind of safe. It's 8.4 pips, which is quite a lot. I always like to do about 7 pips. Always is always quite nice. But in terms of a 1 to 2, if we look at where we are for a 1 to 2, let's take this off again. Okay, risk to reward 1 to 2, that takes us there, which is fairly conservative. Okay, and if you look at price potentially going down to this level here, okay, and again look, where's the previous lows? Okay, previous lows, we've got a little bit of resistance here at the pivot, which you would expect. Price has come further down, and the price ended up, the lower low was down here. So points of interest for this, if we were to take this, would be on the bodies of this candle, all these candles here. Okay, conservatively make it a bit higher, even more conservative than that, but on the wicks on the top. All right, which then takes us back to our 1 to 2. Okay, so let's just leave it that for now. Okay, if we were considering a sell, then that's what we would look at. Let's say price at the minute is going back up. We're kind of at break-even point right now. Right, so that's GBP USD. Let's have a quick look at Euro CAD. Again, Euro CAD, ever since the news kicked in, it's kind of just it came back down. It recovered from that move, and now it's just kind of just bobbing around, not doing too much. What are ATAR's telling us? Not a lot of volume. Okay, so Euro USD, let's have a look at that. So yeah, that's the one we took profit with. We cashed out, or we didn't cash out. I put that on there to show you sort of taking a trade. So again, that's coming back up to the 200 moving average. There's all sorts the price could do, but all we do is react to what the price is actually doing. So look at the Wadar Atar it's come down in that strong move. Okay, so it's pushing down, and then it's just curled off, and it's just starting to come back again. Okay, so again, not much volume happening. We'll just wait and see what happens with that one. But you know, in this situation, you go, okay, well, you've taken a 1 to 2 ratio, you've taken a 2% out of the market. Are you going to carry on, or are you quite happy with that? Okay, and in most cases, what you want with your trading schedule, your management schedule, excuse me, if you're going for 2% every single day, you've done for the day, you finished. Okay, that's you. Even though there's a temptation to go, but there's more pips to be had, you know, you could get yourself in this sort of situation where you go, okay, I wasn't a 1 to 2, now I've done this, and I'm just close to losing a trade, so I'm breaking even. So now I've got to look for more opportunities when I could have just turned my computer off and took the dog for a walk, you know. So that's what potentially can happen. So, and the other thing is, as well, is if you're in these pairs, you've got Euro CAD and GBP CAD, okay, you don't want to be in the same trade with the same pair, okay, because if they win, fantastic, well done. If they lose, you've got a double loser, okay. Again, sort of account management. It's the same thing with the euro, okay. Euro USD, GBP USD, okay. If the USD crashes or whatever, then you know you're either going to win twice or you're going to lose twice, and it's better to win once and walk off and go, that's it, done for the day, thanks very much. Okay, so this one, the pound US dollar, it's turned on its heels again. So I said this is a good place for a stop loss, because it's it gives us, you know, there's a lot of closed doors that the candle has to go, the price has to go through to get through. What I mean is the closed doors are the resistance points, okay, the trend line, the moving averages, this engulfing candle, this area of interest here. Okay, so if you get a strong move, then obviously there's nothing you can do, but in a situation where you're putting your stop loss, look for those areas, look for those barriers, okay, the areas of interest, and make use of them. That's what they're there for, okay. So again, we're touching that imbalance. It was only a tiny bit of imbalance, but like I said, look at the previous candles, okay. So here it formed resistance. Now, had we not put that imbalance on, we might be looking at this going, well, why is price stopping there? I don't understand. Okay, well, look, it's imbalance. So it's gone through it. Okay, so now we're in a position where we've gone through this pivot line. Okay, very significant area, but it's now still acting as resistance. It went through it, but it's kind of bouncing off. And you know, is it going to bounce off? Is it going to bounce and come up? I think this is still going to come down for the downside. You know, and potentially we could see the price going down to this area of interest that we put on, and maybe even continuing down. But you know, that's all speculation. You don't know. It could just turn on its heels and do the opposite. All we do is we mitigate our risks with the right management, and we put our stop losses in the right place. And the more we do, the better we get. And that's what I would say, is that when you're learning, if you're watching this and you're learning trading, just put as many trades on a demo account as possible. Okay, go through the setup, go to your MT4, your MT5, or your C panel, or not C panel, your other one. Do as many as you can in demo, and circle the square. Okay, do as many trades as you can. Put them on. Look at your lot sizes. Okay, go to a lot size manager and find out what lot size you should be putting on for the account size that you've got and the risk that you want to risk. Okay, 1%. Don't do any more than 1%. If you're in a longer trade, then do a fraction of a percent, half, quarter, whatever. Okay, but go through the whole process, and the more you do, the more you will learn, and the more correlations you will find, or similarities with the pairs. Okay, yesterday at 1 o'clock it did this, and then yesterday at 2 o'clock in the morning price went massively in one direction, but it did the same. It does the same nearly every single day. Okay, there's a pattern of commonality, and you'll find loads of different patterns of commonality when you trade. Okay, so this area here, this area of interest, as I said before, this would be a potential well, this is our take profit. Okay, so it's just wicked through it. Okay, so that would have been what have we got there, 16 pips on that one, so another 2% on that one. So we've already gone, we've either cashed out, or we potentially would continue to the downside. But you know, I think given it's a 2-minute time frame, and given we've had a lot of news, I potentially would have cashed out by now. Right, let's look at Euro CAD. Yeah, nothing really much happening on that. Kind of consolidating this like sideways rotation. Nothing really happening on that. Euro USD. I think we just looked at that. Yeah, we did. GBP CAD. So it's gone through the trend line. Okay. But it touched it. See that not? So if we're looking at this strategy and we're going, well, it's gone through a trend line, look, but yeah, it's straddled that line. Okay, it's touching it, and what I want is that for it to be completely separate and free. Okay, so that's what it did. It went below it, but then it went for a buy. Okay, so price reversed. So if I'm looking at potential sells, the next question is, okay, how far is it away from this imbalance? We know the imbalance is either going to act as, well, it's going to act as resistance initially, but we know price has to come and take this imbalance away, has to take it out. We don't know when. Okay, and these are all the things that we're looking at. Moderata is telling us that it's weak enough in terms of a sell, but this isn't a predictor. This is just telling us what's happening right now. Okay, and we can look at the candle. Look at this. The candle's green. I know what's happening. Thanks very much. Okay, but again, it's just additional confirmations that confirms our beliefs. Okay, and when we're learning trading, we need good indicators that are going to help us, okay, and just let us know what price is doing. And I said yesterday, one of the good things about the Crossfire strategy is when you put your trend lines on the chart and the price respects those trend lines, that gives you a big boost in confidence, not only in price action but also in the strategy itself. Okay, so that's something else to look out for. And when you put a trend line on the chart and you get loads of different touches, okay, it gives you confidence that you put that trend line in the right place. Okay, so that's a question I used to ask, watching people talking about trading, and they go and put a line on the chart and they go, yeah, but why did you put it there? It's like, well, and a lot of people go, well, because I'm experienced, because I know. But to break it down into the simplest form, okay, it's because the candle or the wick touched it, okay, in multiple different places. Yeah, so repetition is the key, really, is to trading. Repetition, and keeping your nerve. Don't get involved, don't get too excited. Okay, now look at this. This is like skydiving all the way to the bottom. That's going to end up going all the way to the bottom, and you can just, well, we've got this area of interest here. Okay, so where price is now, it's just going through. No, it's gone through it. Gone through that area. Okay. So the next area of kind of interest would be these lows here. Okay. So if I was still in this trade, I would look for these areas of interest, okay, and put those lines on conservatively. But is price going to go down to this support area here, this pivot? It'll be a good old run, but the way it's looking, it's a potential. And the things about TradingView as well, if you haven't got TradingView, get TradingView, because you can mark it up with all sorts of things. You can put your comments on there, you can put trend lines on there, you can do everything I did on this. And when I was first learning, I used to just type it. I used to just go to the text editor, put it on there, and just type anything in. Okay, and you can type your comments in there, how you felt at the time, okay, all sorts of things. Yeah, forget that. Right, we're just over an hour, so let me just go through these pairs real quick. So Euro CAD, not doing a huge amount, still sideways rotating. Euro USD, we've taken that trade where we did 14 pips on there. Okay, it went. Which did we get in? I think we got in about there, didn't we? Yeah, we did. So it came down, it went back up again and went down, and it's probably going to continue to the downside. GBP CAD, again, sideways rotation, nothing really much happening. And GBP USD, similar situation, 16.8 pips, 1 to 2. And again, this may well go down to that pivot line from there. Anyway, I hope that helped. I know I sometimes with trading, you end up covering a lot of information. So if you're brand new to trading, what I would say is just stick with it, okay? Because the only way I learned trading was to go to the sessions and just listen. And there was a lot of things that I didn't understand. In fact, I didn't understand anything. It was a bit like just listening to people talk Chinese for a few weeks, and then suddenly things start to make sense. That's what they mean by that. Okay, so if you're brand new, just stick with it. Get yourself TradingView. There'll be a link down below in the description. You can get yourself TradingView for free. If you want to upgrade, then you can do that. I pay something like $12.50 a month, and you can upgrade as and what you need. But get that. Practice every single day. If you like my videos, or if you like my style of teaching, if I can call it teaching, watch them, okay, and spend the time to learn your skill, learn your craft. This strategy is really, really simple. And the reason I like it is because I like scalping. I like longer trades, but I also like scalping. And this is really simple and straightforward. And what I find is if you concentrate on, a very small cluster of pairs, some people just trade one, okay? But you get to know the relationship and you get to understand the dynamic of those pairs, okay? And the majority of traders have one strategy or two strategies that they know inside out, okay? And that's what I would recommend for you. Okay, so again, if you've got any questions, my text number is down there. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, then please consider subscribing. And if you got some value from this or any of the videos on this channel, then give us a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Always helps in with the algorithm. And if you've got any questions, just reach out or put a comment below. I always answer my questions, and we will see you tomorrow. What I'll do tomorrow, I had a few connection issues this morning, would you believe it? So we're going to come on tomorrow at 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. we'll be doing the Crossfire session at the start of the pre-London Open. Okay, so we'll come on at 6 a.m. And trade the 4 pairs there. So join me tomorrow at 6 a.m. All right, we'll talk soon. Bye for now.